Welcome to Inviting Oneness, a podcast where we explore true stories from friends and members of EquaSion. Stories where the illusion of separateness gave way to the deeper truth of our shared humanity. Oneness isn't an idea, it's an experience. And today, we continue listening for it, one story at a time. Our guest today is David Moody. David Moody is a writer and Cincinnati native. He currently works full-time for an insurance company here in Cincinnati and manages a community garden in Mount Auburn called The Magic Garden. In his free time, he enjoys writing poetry as well as listening to and playing music. In his writing, he explores themes of faith, race, identity, and mental health, among other things. At EquaSion, we recently launched a new small group initiative called Faith and Friendship Groups. Throughout the summer, interfaith groups will gather around a range of themes and practices, including having difficult conversations, prayer, belong dinners, faith communities in solidarity with immigrants, and sacred connections, our Religious 101 group that visits different places of worship across the Greater Cincinnati region. Each gathering begins with a poem and a connecting question. The poem you'll hear today was written by David, and it opened our Faith and Friendship groups last week and this week. After sharing the poem, David responds to this connecting question. What teaching or story has shaped your faith? What teaching or story has shaped your faith? As you listen, we invite you to reflect on that question for yourself. Here's David.
What you're seeing now, that's the story catching up to reality. For the past 8 years, it's just been me and the work in the wilderness, writing on the run, hiding out in caves like King David, wrestling with my faith. I've been this close to the edge. I've been a hair trigger away from death. I've felt every emotion, and yet I'm still here today. I can honestly say that God is good and that I'm better for it. Sometimes the degree to which you get set back determines how far you will go. I know sometimes faith doesn't make any sense, but that's the whole point of it, I guess.
Thanks so much, David, for your poem, for your willingness to help to open our Faith and Friendship small groups. The way that these small groups are working is that we're opening with a poem, and then we're asking every participant of the small group to answer what we call a connecting question that, in my mind, connects in some way to the poem that you just read or to that others have written for us. And so I'd like to invite you now to answer the connecting question that I think in some ways has some threads with your own poem. Here's the question. What teaching or story has shaped your faith? What teaching or story has shaped your faith?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Joey. I think the teaching or story that has shaped my faith has just been one of faithfulness, I guess. And so, in my poem, I talked about kind of writing on the run a lot, and I felt like that in my own practice of writing. But as I'm living, my daily life, it often feels like I am lost, and not going in the direction maybe that I had thought I was going to be going in or that I wanted to be going in. And so the teaching, of King David, in the wilderness, crying out to God, asking for his favor, for his faithfulness has really connected with me because that's given me kind of a North Star to kind of shoot as like an archetype as I'm going through my daily life, feeling lost, sometimes. I know where there's an end to the monotony or the suffering or kind of the uncomfortable feelings that we all experience. And so I think to sum it up, I would say it's been one of faithfulness that God, is still there, even in my, most depressing, kind of darkest moments. It just that he's been faithful, throughout the whole experience, regardless of my ups and downs.
God's faithfulness, is that aspirational for you? Is that a lived reality for you? Is that something that you move and live with every day? Like, how do you conceive of the faithfulness of God?
That's a good question. I would say my lived reality is that, it is a struggle. It is a wrestling of this faithfulness. So it's not like everything's all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Without going into too much detail, I have some struggles of my own that I think have shaped a lot of the way I see the world and how I move through the world, and these mental health struggles that I've experienced. I think those don't always make it easy, but I think at the end of the day, I've noticed, in other areas of my life, God, showing up, and God, proving time and time again that he is faithful, and he does have my best interest at heart. It hasn't been a very, smooth ride necessarily, but I would say it's been consistent, over the long haul that God has shown up.
Yeah. Well, I think consistently showing up is a great definition of faithfulness. So thanks so much, David, for your time, for your poetry, for your willingness to participate in this project that we're trying to bring into the world. So thanks so much, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on Inviting Oneness, where we share real stories of connection that dissolve the illusion of separation and reveal our common humanity. To learn more about the festival, our work at EquaSion, or to share your own story of oneness, visit us at EquaSion.org. Until next time, may we keep inviting oneness within ourselves and with one another.